Okay, we've had a great week touring around the region for our monthly chats with local mayors. St. Catharines, you are up. You sent us your mayor, Mat Siscoe, back on the couch. Oh, man, you're always here when something's going on. That works out timely, doesn't it?
It's funny how that happens, yeah.
Okay. Before we get to last night, you have a big day today.
Yes, State of the City address today up at Club Roma. It's going to be my longest speech of my career.
Ooh, how long?
I think I clocked it at 31 minutes last night.
You practice in the mirror?
Not in the mirror, no. It's not a high school debate, but no, I'm looking forward to it. A couple people have been sending me messages this morning threatening to throw dinner rolls if it's not entertaining.
Right.
And my wife has a habit of heckling me at public events. So if it's not entertaining, then I will know about it very quickly because she's about 8 feet from where my lectern is.
Hilarious. And I met your wife a couple months ago, and she's wonderful too. Okay, so let's get to last night because it was Emily's story today. You provided the city a community meeting to give an update on the sonic explosion that happened back in January. Overall, how did it go for you?
I will say, like, I've been to a lot of public meetings in my career. This was a phenomenal one. The residents they had their questions. They were great questions. We were lucky, our partner agencies, the Ministry of Environment, everybody else, they were there and able to answer questions. We were concerned that maybe we wouldn't have enough information for residents, but it turned out that their questions were very focused and the staff from different agencies were able to answer it. Our fire chief, Dave Upper, he's been phenomenal, an absolute rock during all of this, and he ran a great meeting. The residents were respectful. Obviously, there's a lot of frustration, there's concern, but we're trying to get that information out there. We've got a special website set up for it. But the reality is residents still wanted to hear it from public health, from the ministry, from the fire chief, and a lot of good answers last night. Residents walking out, a lot of people were saying, listen, I feel better. I know the air is safe. I know the water I'm drinking is safe. There are some concerns with contamination in the area, and the Ministry of the Environment was very clear. They're going to be on site. They're going to keep testing. And when there are concerns, they're going to be dealt with.
What are the other concerns?
It really comes down to the drainage ditches in some areas. There was, I think the chief said, 11.5 million liters of water put on this fire to put it out. And that caused a lot of flow. Now, the way that it's been set up now, they have mitigation measures all around the property, so nothing is getting off of the property. But there was some contamination during the fighting of the fire. And so the ministry is on site. They're responding to residents when they identify concerns that they have. They've been testing in different parts of the neighborhood to make sure that the contamination isn't getting out. But again, the ministry and public health have both been very clear that residents can feel comfortable, breathing the air, drinking the water, and living in their homes.
What about getting out?
So that was a big one, and this was something that myself and the ward councillors have been talking about well before this ever happened, that we need to have a better access in that neighborhood for a secondary access. We've had a temporary one which worked very well during this situation. We're looking at ways to either make that permanent or find another permanent emergency access.
For anybody that doesn't know this area, why is it tough to get out of this area?
It's a very strange pocket of the city. It's separated by the seaway and the canal system on one side. It's in the northeast corner, and there's really only one main road in and out of this neighborhood. So there is a secondary access now because of some of the construction that was going on. We're looking at possibilities, maybe keeping that open. We're going through the environmental assessment phase now. That takes some time and some money, but the residents in the neighborhood were very thankful that we've engaged that process. Our staff are working on it, and we should have answers in the short term to put people's minds at ease. And we've said, like, we need to look at all the neighborhoods in the city and make sure we have viable secondary ways out of the neighborhood in the event that something gets blocked up.
Welland Canal Bridges being one of them.
And the Welland Canal Bridges has been a long-standing concern. I've been a councillor for 13 years. We've passed a bunch of motions asking the Seaway to look at maintaining one bridge down at all times for exactly this kind of situation. We had another motion a couple weeks ago. We have a meeting set up with the Seaway and Transport Canada at the end of the month. We need to have that conversation because we need to make sure our fire trucks can get there.
Okay. Long-term care, we've got a minute left.
Really good news story, and it's one of those things. We have a council meeting and you think the most important stuff's going to get covered, and then you realize that it's not getting talked about. We approved some zoning for a new 256 net new LTC beds in St. Catharines, long-term care facility that we desperately need. And the only reason this happened is because the last council that I was a part of as well pushed very hard to get the area rezoned so that this would be allowed. The way it was set up before, it couldn't happen, but it's in a perfect area. We've got our new hospital is there. We've got the Paso mental health facility in the neighborhood. It's going to turn into a medical area. To have long-term care beds in that situation is exactly what we want. And so it's a really good news story for St. Catharines that that's going to be happening.
Okay, we're out of time, but another thing that maybe next time, or we'll keep an eye on this, because the Garden City Skyway getting some funding for some infrastructure there, because you need to do something there.
Well, it needs to be rehabilitated. The government believes this is the best way to do it, so it's an exciting time in St. Catharines.
Okay. Do you have any dinner rolls? Should we throw a dinner roll at her? We did okay, Annette?
We're doing okay.
He did okay. Okay, Mayor of St. Catharines, Mat Siscoe, thanks for being here. Good luck on your speech.
It's always a pleasure, Tim.